Thinking about starting an event planning business in 2025? Well, let me save you months of frustration by telling you exactly what I wish I knew when I started. From finding your niche market to actually getting paid clients, I'm breaking it down step by step. And stick around until the end because I will be sharing one mistake that new wedding planners can make that can cost them thousands of dollars. And by the way, guys, my name is Gabby. I'm a destination wedding planner for adventurous couples. I'm so glad you're here. I provide a lot of education and hopefully entertainment to my fellow wedding planners on YouTube. So let's dive in. In case you didn't know, event planning is a $5 billion industry in the US alone, and it's expected to grow even more in 2025 with more micro weddings, corporate retreats, and, so it's unconventional celebrations popping up. There's really never been a better time to jump into this industry. But where do you actually start? That's what we're getting into today. First off, not all event planners are the same, and you don't want to be a generalist. Like, you really don't want to copy everybody else. Do you want to plan luxury weddings, corporate events, destination elopements, maybe some festivals and experiential brand events? That's what we do. The more specific you get, the easier it will be to attract the right client. I speak from experience. I used to kind of do a little bit of everything, which is really important when you're first getting started because you kind of want to know what you like and don't like before jumping in feet first into the one niche that you're going to specialize in. But when you've figured out what you're really good at or the events that you really get fueled by, start making your branding specifically to that target audience. If you don't know who that is yet, that's okay. Here's a quick exercise. So if you could plan any event tomorrow and love every second of it, what would that look like? That is your starting point. But don't worry, your niche can absolutely evolve over time. I started in one type of event. Like I said, I used to think that I wanted to do nonprofit events for causes, which is why my company is called Cause We Can Event. But turns out I actually loved being outdoors and I really enjoy doing weddings. So that's why we totally rebranded and started specializing in these more adventurous style, full service weekend types of weddings. Let's talk about building your portfolio. So this is where a lot of new planners get stuck. How do you actually book clients when you don't have a portfolio? How do you build a portfolio when you don't have clients? Here's what I did and I would recommend to anybody getting started. Start with styled shoots. So the concept is you team up with local vendors, florists, photographers, venues, and you create a mock event that looks like a real wedding or party. Now remember, these have to be targeted to your dream client because the point is you want to show this on all of your social media, your website, as your portfolio, and as the type of event that you're specializing in. Another option is to start offering a few free events, maybe one or two free events. It could be a friend's engagement party, a local networking event, or a nonprofit that you volunteer your time at. Honestly, anything where you can showcase your experience, your skills, your design. Just don't stay in that free work zone for too long. We don't want you to be doing business for free, but we do want you building your portfolio and showcasing your talents. Okay, next we've got to set up your business in a really smart way. I think there's a lot of people who say they start an event business, but really it's a hobby. If you haven't set yourself up with proper contracts, picking a business name, buying the domain name, website, registering maybe for your local state or county, getting your bank account set up, all that kind of stuff is what really makes an event business a legitimate event business. Not just that, but you also have to price yourself for profit. Don't just guess what you're going to charge. Do some research, talk to other people. We have a group here of wedding planners in Nashville, and it is a gold resource for me and for anybody getting started too. Connect with some of your local groups, maybe have some one-on-one time coffee chats with some vendors that you feel like you trust and you can be a little vulnerable with. Not everyone is going to say yes to sharing their pricing, but also there's a ton of people's pricings on their websites. Go into it knowing that you maybe have a little less experience than that person, but you have other things that you can offer. So start doing some research. Maybe even ask ChatGPT, what is the average event planning price point in my area? Or check out LinkedIn. Those are really great resources to start building an idea of what your price range should be. The other place too, and I've mentioned this in past videos, there's some really great Facebook groups out there for wedding and event planners. They are a great place that even if you're not comfortable posting your question with your name on it, you can post anonymously and people will give you a ton of feedback. So don't be afraid to reach out to some other vendors and do some good research. By the way, if you're serious about growing your event planning business and want a little exclusive behind the scenes, insider strategy and perhaps some live Q&As, I encourage you to check out my YouTube membership. I have the link in the description below. I already have a few members and we are basically sharing everything that we know about event planning, and I do some lives and I would love for you guys to check it out and join the membership. Okay, next we want to get some clients without necessarily relying on social media. So there are several ways to get some new clients. We've already talked about doing some styled shoots and posting over there, but posting on Instagram is great, but it's not always enough. So here's how to actually get some bookings in 2025. First up, SEO. You've got to optimize your website. I mean, clients are searching for event planners on Google, and this is where your blog, for example, is going to come in really handy. I speak from experience as a former Pinterest educator that Google and Pinterest and blogging are literally this like magical trifecta of ways that people will find you forever and ever and ever. For example, I have a blog post right now called something like Nashville's Wedding Guide for LGBTQ friendly weddings. And it has been getting hits nonstop for the last 2 years that it's been posted. People are coming to my website, to my blog post. They read about who we are and what we offer. And then I've also listed a ton of other vendors that match that LGBTQ friendly criteria, and they're able to start building their wedding vendor team based off of that. I also have some blog posts like from 2016 that I've shared on Pinterest, and those images keep getting found by people searching in Google or even searching in Pinterest, and it leads them directly to my website. So do not underestimate the power of a good SEO and a good blog. Blogging is not dead, my friends. We also want to make sure you build a vendor network. So planners who get referred by venues, florists, and photographers tend to really stay booked a lot. There's nothing more powerful than a personal referral, whether it's from a client or a vendor. I really recommend you introduce yourself to local vendors. I know sometimes it's a little bit hard to get a one-on-one coffee chat, but I would really approach those vendors in somewhat of a vulnerable mindset and just saying, hey, I'm like new to town. I'm brand new at this business. Do you have even resources you'd recommend on how to get started? Or can I take you out to coffee whenever it's convenient for you? Like there's so many ways that you can maybe approach these vendors, and don't get discouraged if you get a lot of no's. You will get someone that says yes eventually, and you're going to start to find your people that way. Next up, you may want to consider leveraging directories and like stuff like Google My Business, whether it's paid or free. There's listings like the Knot, Wedding Wire, Google Business, and all that SEO. All of those are gold. I think a lot of planners dismiss those because they don't want to spend money on advertising. I will say I don't personally have experience with the Knot, but I have heard mixed reviews on whether or not the leads are qualified. But if you're just getting started, it might also be a place where some smaller budget couples are just looking for a professional planner, whether or not there is tons of years of experience. They just need someone to help them with their wedding. So it could be a good place to get experience. Now, obviously, those listings require paying into them. So if you're just brand new and starting with $0, don't stress yourself out. Google My Business is a great place to start. It's a free listing. You create your profile on Google. You can add your business hours. You link it to your website. You can add like some posts on there and any promotions and anything like that that you have going on. I remember like going into some webinars and stuff about Google My Business, and people were really saying it was a super underutilized resource, but that it should be utilized heavily by small businesses. It's also where we collect the most reviews. I feel like Google is one of the better places because it's always there, as opposed to maybe the Knot and Wedding Wire that, who knows, maybe one day they get bought out and all the reviews disappear, or maybe it's going to be a pay to play where you can't see your reviews unless you pay. All that to say, take a look at Google My Business. If you're just starting out, it is a great place to start advertising for free. And yes, my friends, networking still works. Get in front of people. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And I think the other thing is like, try to be memorable at these events. My biggest pet peeve is when someone is just there being like, hi, what's your name? What do you do? And how can you help me? Is let's refer each other. Okay, well, I don't know anything about you. So I think if you're a planner that's just starting out and you're attending these networking events, go in with a few things in mind. If you have access to the guest list ahead of time, I would really encourage you to take a look at who the people that are attending are. Maybe give them a follow on social media, send them a DM being like, hey, I noticed you're going to the IZ networking event. I'll be there too. I would really love to talk to you about the wedding you did at South Hall Farms. Go into it knowing a few things about these people if you can ahead of time. If not, have some questions prepared that you ask everybody. Like go through maybe 5 top questions that are these icebreaker questions that make you memorable. People just don't know how to have a conversation anymore. So if you are there asking some really fun and funky question, they're going to be like, oh my God, Gabby was so fun to talk to. She's new to the industry, but I would like really love to work with her. She's just really curious. She's eager to learn. And I don't know, you'll stay on top of people's minds, right? And then the other thing too is I would really make sure you are following up with those people after the event. It's so easy for us to just like pass out business cards and then put them in a bag and call it good. If you're new to the industry, you've got to take that first step and reach out to these people. Go ahead, send a quick email, say, hey, it was so nice meeting you. I am doing a site tour at this day. Do you want to come along and we can grab coffee after? Or I'm just seeing this new hotel that opened up. Do you want to go check it out with me? I don't know, invite them to something fun or just find a way to keep in touch regularly. Now that we got through the good stuff, let's talk about a mistake that new wedding planners make that could possibly cost them thousands of dollars. And I do not want you to make this mistake. Here's what I see all the time. New planners undercharging or working for free for way too long. You do not need to take every low budget wedding or every low budget event just to get experience. I think, like we talked about before, you need to price yourself fairly from the start and focus on attracting the right clients who values what you do and are willing to pay the price. And trust me, from experience, the ones who are willing to pay your full fee are the ones that will treat you the best. Every time I give a discount, I'm not kidding you, I regret it. It's like that concept of you give an inch, they take a mile. Every time. So please do not make that mistake. There's obviously a lot that goes into pricing. I have a video that I'll link here where I talk about certain ways that I've set my pricing over the years, from flat fee to hourly to a percentage rate. There's really a lot of ways to do it. And guys, you do not have to stick to that forever and ever. So don't think this is like an eternal decision that you're going to make. If you want to try a certain pricing right now, hourly, just to like gain data and know how many hours you're spending on something, by all means. And then if down the road you're like, you know what, screw this, I always end up doing more, I'm going to do a percentage because these budgets keep growing and growing and growing and adding on vendors. Don't be afraid to also ask me if you have questions about these types of pricing. I love chit-chatting in the comments. And I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you're interested in joining the membership, the link is in my description. The more the merrier. I'm like having so much fun over there. I feel like I've absolutely been sharing more secret insider stuff there than I've ever shared before because it just feels like a safe space of just fellow event planners. And as always, appreciate you taking the time today. Let me know in the comments what video you would like to see next, and I will catch you next week. Bye.